Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Although I'm not a Palestinian in front of you today, but if you ask me, I will say yes, Palestine is in my heart. And if you ask my daughters, they will say they are Palestinians. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. I'm asked to talk about the two-state solution. So the question is, you've heard about the two-state solutions, and two-state solution for two kinds of people: the Palestinians as well as the Jews or the Israelis. Now, if you look at this, you have to understand when they say the two-state solution, what does this two-state solution look like? So you have the Palestine, the state for the Palestinian is the yellow lines, the yellow line, and the white line is for the state of Israel. And we have to understand that in the beginning, all of these were Palestine. So when you're talking about the two-state solution, you're talking about a state of 78% for the Israelis and only 22%, quote unquote, 22% quote unquote, 22% as per defined by the Rhodes Armistice. As per defined by the Rhodes Armistice in 1967. As per defined. In reality, it's not even 22%. Now, if you look at the history, the Zionist or the Jewish state started to be espoused and by Theodor Herzl. He's like the father of Zionism. Of course, the actual father of Zionism is behind Herzl. It has always been and will always be the Rothschild family. That you have to understand. But the face that is given out in front is, at that moment in time, is Herzl. But behind that Herzl is actually Rothschild from then until now. It is still within the Rothschild family's doings within this. Now, and Herzl said, let sovereignty be granted to us over a portion of the globe large enough to satisfy the rightful requirements of a nation. Palestine is our historical home. The Jews who wish for a state will have it. No two definition about it. The Jews will have it. Palestine. See, now if you ask the Jewish people, in their Jewish narrative, they will say there was never any country called Palestine. But Theodor Herzl said it in 1892, that there is a place called Palestine. And that is how it started. The issue, when he started to write the book in 1892, he started to write the book about the importance or the need for a Jewish state. He didn't even start with Palestine. He started with some other places like Argentina, Uganda, and many other places. But when he was discussing and trying to get the support of the Jewish leaders, they said no. When he gave Uganda, Argentina, the Jewish leaders said no. Then the rabbis, leaders, said to him, the only place where the Jewish people will agree will be the historical land of Palestine, the historical nation of King David. And that's how he changed from his novel from his write-up in 1892 to then start to propose the establishment of the Jewish state in the land of Palestine. And it managed to actually then get everybody in the Jewish leaders to come together and agree to this. This is what was said by David Ben-Gurion, the first Prime Minister. He said, in the area allocated to the Jewish state, when the United Nations decided to give the Jewish state in 1947. So they said, they look at the Jewish state, and he said that there are 520,000 Jews and 350,000 Arabs in those areas. And according to him, if you read from this, according to him, there cannot be a stable and strong Jewish state so long as it has a Jewish majority of only 60%. He understands that you cannot have a Jewish state with less than 60% majority, because they know that they will be overrun in the future. And that is why they started the program of ethnic cleansing. They understood, the leaders understood, that if they do not go through the program of ethnic cleansing, if they were to accept the United Nations, what United Nations gave to them, which was this, which was this, if they accepted what United Nations gives to them and were comfortable with it, and if they did not do any expansionary work, if they do not do ethnic cleansing, then they know that sooner or later they will be overrun by, and the opposition or the Arab voice will be so, the Palestinian voice will be so big within their government that there is no way for them to then do whatever laws or rules easily. So the process of ethnic cleansing had to be done, whether they like it or not. Although this was given to them in 1947, you remember, 56% of the land. From, as Brother Muslim said, from in 1946, they only had about 6% of the land. One of the reasons why they only had 6% of the land was because although they had a lot of money, when they started buying or trying to buy from the Muslims, there was a fatwa that was given out by the ulama that anybody who sells Palestinian land, a Muslim who sells Palestinian land, will be considered an apostate. Murtad. Dalam Melayu, murtad. Apostate. So the Muslim Palestinians started to stop from selling, because then they will become kafir. So there was no way in. But their lobby, and because their lobby in the UN, with the support of US and the UK, and the UK at that time has already given up on controlling the Palestinian land, because they had two enemies at that time. The Palestinians were killing their soldiers, and the Jewish that they trained were also killing their soldiers. So they finally decided, forget about this, let's pass this to the UN, and let's clean our hands from getting our troops dead from this fight from both sides. And the UN decided then in 1947 to form this partition plan of two states, the white areas for the state of Israel of 56% and 44%, the green areas for the Palestinian state, which is, from 6%, you suddenly get, 54%, from 6% to 54%. Wow, 54%. It doesn't make sense. From 6 to 54. It doesn't make sense. Although, of course, this is the desert, but still, there are people living there until now. They just tried to put a new law in Knesset to get rid of the Bedouins here. Fortunately, with the good lobby, it was cancelled just last year. They did not succeed. Alhamdulillah. So if you look at that, now when they talk about the two-state solution, even after this, after the ethnic cleansing, you have to understand the concept of Zionism. they have only one motto in the concept of Zionism. That you have to understand before you look at the whole problem. Just as for us, we say the land of Palestine for Palestine, for us. They also have the same concept, that in Zionism, the land of Israel is only for the Jews. The land of Israel is only for the Jews. And they keep saying this over and over and over again. It's only for the Jews. Why? Because the non-Jews, according to their religion, Goyim, these are not humans. They are not human beings in the eyes of the Lord, according to them. So the land must not, how can the land be given to non-humans? The land needs to be given to the chosen people, which is the Jews. And so this is the two-state solution that they've been talking about. Now remember, this is the two-state solution. Currently, the way this two-state solution looks currently, where the Palestinians are is Gaza and this. So where is our two-state solution? You have a choice. The Palestinian wants this as a two-state solution. Sir?
102-state solution.
This is what... Worst case scenario may be this. They were willing to accept. When I say they, not necessarily the Palestinian people, but they were willing to accept this two-state solution. But the current situation is this. And that is what makes it very complicated. Now, let's look at this. In 1993, from the Oslo Agreement, okay, from the Oslo Agreement, they go back to the two-state solution. And therefore, in the Oslo Agreement, Yasser Arafat said what? We agree in principle that Israel must withdraw from the occupied territories. According to the 1993, that's already 11 years ago. And 21 years ago. 21, see? If you have a baby now, they can vote in Malaysia. And Palestinian self-government and interim Palestinian self-government or Palestinian Authority and permanent status negotiations. That was what was being discussed. And that's the declaration of principles. But of course, it didn't happen. Or it took years for it to happen until, and it started to happen because of the Intifada. Without the Intifada, nothing. And the Israeli position, officially, I must say officially, okay, the Israeli position officially is this. These are the two official Israeli position. First is the two states, two homeland, for two people. Just as Israel is the homeland for the Jewish people, Palestine will be established as the homeland and national answer for the Palestinian people, including the refugees. That's what they say. Right for return, yes, within the two-state solution. Not right, if you were formerly in Haifa, which is now in occupied territory in Israel, then you don't have the right of return. You have to return to Gaza, or you have to return to Ramallah. But I'm from Haifa. How do I return to Ramallah? That's not return. And number two is the two-state solution is living side by side in peace and security. And it says, just as a viable, prosperous Palestine in the West Bank and Gaza is in Israeli interest, that's what they say. So a secure Israel must be in Palestinian, a secure Israel. And the world cannot afford another terror state. we cannot afford Israel. It's a terror state. Right? That is what is happening now. Now if you look at this, and from Mahmoud Abbas, what he said last year, from the Palestinian Authority, this is his position. He said, Palestine is the 1967 borders with East Jerusalem as its capital. This is now and forever. Now, remember, he is speaking, not necessarily for the Palestinians. That you have to understand. Not necessarily. I mean, this is a very damning statement. Because this is what? Now and forever. Means you will no longer have any claim beyond the 67 borders. Right? Beyond. So, we have to also look at what is the Hamas position in this. Because the actual legal government, legally, it should have been led by Hamas after they won the 2006 election, more than 60% of the votes. Now, Hamas says Israel has to withdraw to the 1967 borders, and it does not even refer to the agreements. There's a reason for that. Because then you can define 67 borders. So it doesn't refer to the amnesty, so it just says to the 67 borders. And that Israel must dismantle all settlements in the West Bank. And that Israel must secede Jerusalem completely to the Palestinian National Authority. And honor the rights of refugees to return to their homeland. It doesn't say to return to Palestine within the 67 borders. They've never said that. They've said to return to their homeland. Meaning, the whole... And of course, you will not expect the Jews to agree to that. This is a Palestinian. This is a Palestinian. He's teaching in Columbia University in the US. He says, the conflict appears intractable because it is a contest over the same land by two people, which is true, who always believed they had valid title to it. And the Oslo peace process set the stage for separation, but real peace can only come with a binational Israeli-Palestinian state. And actually, if everybody agrees, slowly Israel will cease to exist. If you have an Israeli-Palestinian state, slowly Israel will cease to exist. And Israelis understand this. That is why they do not want a single state. They understand this. Just as Ben-Gurion was saying before this. Remember? 60% majority is not good enough. So that's why they are going for the two-state solution. Now, the alternative, according to Tony Judd, another historian, professor in the UK, he says the two-state solution, the core of those, is probably already doomed. To convert Israel from a Jewish state to a binational state will be difficult, but to him, that's the only way. That's the only way forward. No. But look at it from the Jews. What are they saying? He was a deputy mayor of Jerusalem. What? He was deputy mayor of Jerusalem. The geopolitical condition created in 1967 is irreversible. You cannot reverse it. The situation cannot be changed, and you cannot unscramble the egg. It's already scrambled. It's already done. It says you cannot go beyond that. And this is a former mayor. He says settlements prevent the establishment of a Palestinian state. I say that the settlers are immovable. We will continue to build settlements even if they are demolished. As long as you have settlements, you have, and say, it's in. But Palestinians, please take heart. That's what they say to the settlements in Gaza. And they did. And remember, they own 40% of the land in Gaza, right? They own 40%. The settlements had 40% of the land in Gaza. So, don't worry. Take heart. Now, and if you look at the pattern of the settlements, this is what they've done. They've always the hilltops overlooking. It's always the hilltops overlooking the. See, hilltops overlooking the. That's their strategy. All hilltops. Every places they do, all hilltops, overlooking the Palestinians. Because strategically, you cannot wage war. You are down there. It's easy to protect, and if those are taken over, Israel, as we know it, will be gone. Because from the hills to launch anything, that's the best place. That's why they keep Golan Heights. They will never give Golan Heights to the Syrians. But even if they give it to the Syrians were never the enemies anyway. So if you look at the Israeli settlement population, I know I'm past. Just West Bank, Eastern Jerusalem, Gaza. See West Bank? This is 211. It's already 500,000 in the West Bank. Settlements only. You're looking at just settlements. So these are settlements within the West Bank, inside the 1967 borders. So if you ask me, my question to you is, where is the Palestinian state? 102 small states. So is it feasible? Can you have a Palestinian state like that? You have a Palestinian state and you want to go from south to the north, you've got to go through Israel maybe 11, 12 times. It is, and the key is the settlements, as this lady had said, the settlements prevent the establishment of a Palestinian state. Khalas. Which means, although they say we want a two-state solution, it will never happen. Brother Hussaini, can I just end with showing you a video of Netanyahu and what he said? Is that okay? Just a short, because you have to know this is the leader, right? So if you talk about the two-state solution, this is what is in his head. Okay, this is what is in his head. Bismillah. No, we don't have him. I hope you can hear. Oh, at least you can read.
הסכם אוסלו קבע בשעתו כי ישראל תמסור בהדרגה שטחים לפלסטינים בשלוש פעימות שונות, אלא אם בשטחים האמורים יימצאו התנחלויות או אתרים צבאיים. כאן מזהה ביבי פרצה.
אף אחד לא אמר מה זה אתרים צבאיים מוגדרים. אתרים צבאיים מוגדרים, אני אמרתי אלה אזורי ביטחון. בקעת הירדן מבחינתי זה אתר צבאי מוגדר. זהו לך תגיד. אבל אז הייתה שאלה, מי יגדיר מה זה אתרים צבאיים מוגדרים? קיבלתי מכתב מכריסטופר אליי ולערפאת באותה לשעה,
Israel and only Israel.
בלבד היא זו שתגדיר מה הם את מיקום האתרים הצבאיים האלה וארגון לה. עכשיו, אתם לא רוצות את המכתב הזה, אז לא נתתי את הסכם כמובן. הפסקתי את ישיבת הממשלה, אמרתי אני לא חושב.
Okay, that's very important. There is a loophole in the Oslo Accords where the definition in the Oslo Accord, Israel is allowed to keep, for their security, to keep military sites. And the definition of the military site, how big it is up to Israel. That's why if you look at this video and you go on ahead, he says that the whole of the West Bank, the whole of Jordan Valley, I can define the whole of Jordan Valley as military site, which means what? The possibility of a two-state solution is... That's all.